Most people think confidence is loud, that it's about big gestures, sharp suits, perfect timing, and smooth talk. They think it's something you're either born with or fake your way into. But the truth? Real confidence, the kind that doesn't shake, doesn't doubt, doesn't disappear under pressure, is built in silence. It's forged behind the scenes. And the ancient Stoics knew exactly how to build it. You won't find their secrets in motivational speeches or viral sound bites. Their rituals were hidden private routines and inner disciplines that turned ordinary men into legends. While the world chased applause, they practiced stillness. While others begged for validation, they trained themselves to need nothing. Their confidence wasn't loud, it was lethal. It didn't boast, it simply acted. It didn't seek attention, it attracted it. And today, we're peeling back the marble curtain to reveal what they did differently. You're going to discover the hidden Stoic rituals that build unshakable confidence, the kind that makes people pause when you walk in, the kind that commands respect before you even speak, the kind that doesn't break when life does. These are not hacks. These are not tricks. These are time-tested disciplines, psychological weapons designed to train your mind, tame your ego, and put your soul in charge. From morning routines borrowed from emperors to brutal self-reflection techniques that cut through insecurity, like a sword, every ritual you'll learn is designed to do one thing: make you solid. Not fake confidence, real authority. The kind that Marcus Aurelius carried into battle. The kind Epictetus held even as a slave. The kind Seneca taught while staring down death. This isn't ancient history, this is the playbook for a modern mind ready to rise. And the best part? You don't need power, money, or perfect conditions to start. You just need practice. So if you're tired of pretending, tired of insecurity, tired of second-guessing yourself every time you walk into a room, keep watching. Because what you're about to learn won't just change how you feel. It'll change who you are. Confidence is not born in a moment of glory. It is not sparked by luck or built by applause. Real confidence is the slow fire that grows from quiet rituals repeated with discipline. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that character is shaped by practice, not promises. That confidence is the result of living in alignment, not pretending to be strong. So while others searched for shortcuts and flattered themselves with empty affirmations, the Stoics turned to rituals, hidden routines, private disciplines that rewired their minds and reshaped their identities from the inside out. These rituals were not about appearances. They were about truth. And through them, the Stoics developed a strength that could not be faked and a calm that could not be shaken. The first ritual they practiced was called morning reflection. Before the world made its demands, before conversation, before judgment, a Stoic would rise and begin with stillness. Marcus Aurelius would write to himself each morning, preparing for insult, for difficulty, for disappointment. Not with fear, but with clarity. He would say, "Today I will meet arrogance, ingratitude, selfishness, and betrayal." He did not say this to be negative. He said it to avoid surprise. Because surprise breaks confidence, but preparation strengthens it. This ritual was not about rehearsing misery. It was about armoring the mind. If you expect discomfort, you are not defeated by it. This is how the Stoic enters the day. Calm, grounded, already rehearsed for battle. The second ritual was negative visualization. In a world obsessed with avoiding pain, the Stoics leaned into it with imagination. They would picture loss, picture failure, picture the worst-case scenario, not to dwell in fear, but to break its spell. When you imagine losing what you love it more deeply. When you imagine hardship, you stop fearing it. This ritual was a form of mental weightlifting. Epictetus taught that we must prepare our minds like athletes prepare their bodies. And visualizing discomfort was their way of building emotional muscle. Modern minds avoid discomfort. Stoic minds simulate it so they can face it without flinching. That is real confidence. The third ritual was voluntary discomfort. This was not imagination. This was real action. Seneca would go days wearing plain clothes and eating the bare minimum. He would ask himself, is this the condition I feared? And in doing so, he proved to himself that he could handle far more than his mind had believed. Voluntary discomfort was how the Stoics practiced indifference to luxury and resilience in poverty. Today we might fast, take cold showers, turn off our phones, or walk through rejection on purpose. Whatever form it takes, the ritual is the same. Choose hardship. Face it willingly. Prove that your worth is not dependent on ease. Because if your confidence only lives in comfort, it will die in challenge. The Stoics built confidence that survived both. The fourth ritual was journaling. Not writing for show, writing for truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote his thoughts every night, not to impress others, but to correct himself, to study his own weakness, to review where he had fallen short, where he had been reactive, selfish, dishonest, lazy. Most people avoid their flaws. Stoics face them, and in doing so, they took away their power. Journaling is not therapy. It is strategy. It is how you become your own teacher, your own judge, your own sculptor. And through that honest reflection, confidence grows. Because the more honest you are with yourself, the less anyone else's opinion can hurt you. That is the secret. Confidence is not the absence of insecurity. It is the ability to see it, name it, and rise above it. And that clarity is built through reflection. The final ritual was evening review. After the day was done, a Stoic would ask, what did I do well? What did I fail to control? Where did I lose myself? And most importantly, how can I improve tomorrow? This ritual was not punishment. It was training. It was how they held themselves accountable without guilt. How they studied themselves without shame. Growth without reflection is blind. But with this nightly ritual, the Stoics turned every day into a lesson. And over time those lessons became habits. Those habits became strength. And that strength became a calm confidence that others could not understand. It did not need to explain itself. It did not need to defend itself. It simply existed, silently, powerfully. These 5 rituals are not ancient artifacts. They are living tools. You can use them now, today. You can wake up and reflect. You can visualize what might go wrong and prepare your mind. You can choose discomfort on purpose and stretch your limits. You can journal with brutal honesty. And you can review your day with wisdom, not self-punishment. These are not tricks. They are ancient mental practices, invisible to others, but transformative to you. Because when you live this way, something changes. You stop looking outside for approval. You stop asking the world to tell you who you are. You start trusting your own process. And in that trust, confidence is born. Not the fake kind. Not the kind that shakes, but the kind that walks in silence. The kind that cannot be taken. The kind that glows from the inside out. This is what the Stoics understood. And it is what you now have the chance to practice. Not once. Not when you feel like it. But daily. How Stoics deprogram fear and doubt without saying a word. Fear and doubt are not enemies you fight with noise. They are shadows that grow stronger the more attention you give them. Most people try to overcome fear by talking about it endlessly or by avoiding it completely. But the Stoics took a different approach. They did not deny fear, and they did not dramatize it. They trained themselves to move through it without letting it speak for them. Their method was simple but powerful. They did not need motivational quotes or emotional outbursts. They used presence. They used reason. And most importantly, they used action. Fear and doubt live in the future, in what might happen, in what could go wrong. But the Stoic brings everything back to now. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by events, but by our judgment of them. That means fear is not in the thing itself. It is in our thoughts about it. And thoughts can be changed. The Stoics trained their minds to stop exaggerating, to stop assuming the worst. They would ask themselves, what exactly am I afraid of? Is it death? Is it discomfort? Is it being misunderstood? And then they would go one step further. They would examine whether that thing is actually in their control. If it was not, they released it. If it was, they prepared for it. This is how they deprogrammed fear without needing to talk it to death. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that if something is in your control, do not panic. If it is not in your control, do not panic. That simple truth stripped fear of its power. Doubt, too, was treated with clarity. The Stoics did not wait for perfect confidence before taking action. They moved forward while still uncertain. They believed that action reveals truth. That motion clears fog. So when doubt whispered you are not ready, they answered by taking a step, and then another, until doubt no longer had a voice. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. This was not just a quote. It was a call to face imagined fears with real actions, to stop feeding fear with hesitation and start starving it with discipline. And one of the most powerful tools they used was the habit of silence. When fear rose, they did not argue with it. They observed it. They let it speak without responding. And in that silence, the fear collapsed under its own weight. Because most fear is only loud when it is echoed. The Stoics taught that a calm mind is not the result of perfect conditions. It is the result of practiced indifference. Not coldness, but clarity. When you train yourself to see fear without obeying it, you become untouchable. You walk through fire without flinching. Not because the fire is gone, but because you are no longer afraid of being burned. And that kind of strength does not need to be explained. It is felt. It is seen in your posture, in your patience, in your silence. It is not the kind of courage that shouts. It is the kind that moves forward even when the path is unclear. That is how the Stoics dismantled fear and doubt. Not by fighting them, by walking past them, quietly, consistently, and without apology. They knew that the mind will believe what the body proves. So they acted strong. And their mind followed. They acted disciplined, and their emotions aligned. They acted as if they could handle life. And eventually they could. This is the silent power of Stoic practice. It does not argue with fear. It outgrows it, step by step, day by day, in stillness and in motion. And the result is not bravado. It is not forced confidence. It is quiet certainty. The kind that does not ask for permission. The kind that does not beg for reassurance. The kind that simply is. This is how the Stoics rewired their nervous systems and reprogrammed their emotional responses. Not with words, but with action anchored in reason. And you can do the same. When fear rises, breathe. Observe. Ask, what am I really afraid of? Ask, is this within my control? And then act, even if it is small, even if it is uncomfortable. Because with every quiet step you take, you teach your mind that you are no longer a slave to fear. And that lesson builds a kind of confidence no one can give you and no one can take away. This is how the Stoics walked with power. Not because they had no fear, but because fear had no hold on them. So now you know the truth. Real confidence does not come from shouting louder or pretending harder. It is not something you find in a mirror or hear in applause. It is something you become through quiet practice and daily discipline. The Stoics understood this. They trained their minds in silence. They prepared for chaos with calm. And they faced fear without fanfare. Their rituals were not made for performance. They were made for transformation. And the same power is available to you right now. You do not need to feel ready. You do not need to fake strength. You only need to begin. Reflect in the morning. Choose discomfort. Journal your truth. Prepare your mind. And most importantly, act with intention even when doubt whispers otherwise. Over time, this becomes your edge. Your silence becomes your signal. Your presence becomes your power. So if this message speaks to something deep in you, if you are tired of surface-level confidence and ready to build the real thing, start today. Practice what they practiced. Do not chase attention. Build authority. Do not seek permission. Train discipline. And if this video lit a fire in you, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more Stoic strategies that work in the real world. And remember, confidence is not noise, it is clarity. It is not ego, it is peace. The Stoics did not need to say much. And neither will you. Because once you walk in true confidence, your silence will say everything.